The theme of the 5K and the 10K are Aladdin and Mulan. I did a whole bunch of research on what outfits from the movies I wanted to be, or the characters, and I came up with 2 ideas that I thought were pretty fitting. The first one is Abu. Definitely had Jasmine Halloween costumes when I was a little girl, but for the purpose of this event, I thought it would be really fun to be Abu. I did a little bit of research on the different kinds of Abus, because you have the cartoon, you also have the live action, and then you have like toys and all this stuff. With Abu, I could do a brown outfit with details on top. So I had a brown running outfit. This is just a sports bra and leggings from CRZ Yoga, which is a brand you can find on Amazon. Ordered the set a few weeks ago. Fits nicely. This would be a perfect base layer. And the thing with Disney runs, especially in February, is that you don't know if it's going to be hot or cold. And I've experienced both. The first time I ever did a Disney 5K, it was hot as all get out. It felt like summertime. And then last year when I went in February, it was so cold. So I thought a sports bra and pants would be a great balance of, I can wear this whether it's hot or cold at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now for the accessories for Abu, obviously he typically only wears a fez and a vest. And while I have the running outfit base that I'm going to be wearing, I don't really want to run in something that's going to be open. So I thought the best way to solve that problem is finding a workout shirt, which this is like an open sleeve tank top. You can see like the armholes are pretty big, but it's still something cute and that I can wear later on, which is really nice because I hope to repurpose all of these pieces. So I ordered this. It's the same brand, the CRZ Yoga. Also fits really nice and it looks good with the brown. And then what I'm going to do with this is I bought a whole bunch of trim. I have a red and like a red and gold trim that I thought was perfect. If you look at Abu in the live action here, you're going to see that his detail on his vest is a lot more elaborate than the cartoon. So I thought this was a perfect fit. Kind of ties in nicely with this wine color. I think it's the perfect combo for Abu's outfit. For the hat, that one's gonna be a little bit different and I don't have all the materials just yet. The only other thing that I have considered ordering and I haven't yet are some tan socks to kind of break up the brown running outfit with like a little ankle color change. I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet, and my shoes are tan, so it kind of plays into his like lighter colored hands and feet. I don't know if I want to run with a tail, so that's probably not gonna happen. But that's Abu's outfit. Pretty excited to kind of stitch that together. I've always had fun making these costumes, and I typically have a few handmade elements and then purchase the rest because as much time as I like spending on this, I'm a busy lady and I don't always have the time to make everything from scratch. So now onto Mulan's outfit. So Mulan. Mulan's a great movie. I actually love this movie, the cartoon version, and I didn't hate the live action. When I started looking up Mulan outfits, there were like a ton, right? There's like 5 or 6. Most outfit changes in a movie might go to Mulan. I don't know, maybe. But I started looking them up and, well, I thought it would be funny to do the matchmaker or the Huns or even Mushu or the cricket. I legitimately thought about doing costumes for all of those. I ended up going back to Mulan for a couple of reasons. One of them was the colors that she wears in most of her outfits are colors that I would wear. Again, I want to repurpose a lot of these pieces for like everyday life and not just make them for this run and then never use them again. But I also, once I found the costume I wanted to do, all the pieces kind of fell together. So I'm gonna call it the Matchmaker Mulan. This is the outfit that she's put in while she's with the matchmaker and the song is coming through and they shove the little cricket up her dress in the like backside, the lucky cricket that grandma talks about. And when I saw the colors on this, I was like, that's really cute. I think these colors are gonna be easy to find in running outfits and I will wear them again. So I did some research once again and I found the pieces to the outfit pretty quick, which, well, we're gonna be honest, it's the same brand as the last one. Again, CRZ Yoga from Amazon, coming in clutch. They have like 9,000 color options. I found purple, like a bright purple running yoga pant. I thought this fit perfectly with her skirt. The layers are a little complex, and I honestly did not want to overthink this. In the past, I've worn some very costumey outfits for some of these races, and while it is fun and some people do this for fun, I also like to be comfortable, and I don't want to be like wearing a ton of extra stuff. Last year I went as Kevin from Up, yes, here. And while it was fun, the feathers were quite a bit, and I ran a 10K in this thing, and no regrets, but it was quite a bit to haul around for 6 miles plus the miles to the start line and the miles to the car afterwards. So we wanted to keep it simple this time. For the top, we're gonna use this navy blue sports bra. Again, CRZ Yoga, coming in clutch. I thought it was perfect for the little waistband that she wears around the pink and white undershirt. So this is a perfect color to match that. For the pink flowy underpart, thought that might be a little hard, and looking for colors online was a little bit difficult, but I found a pink top from a brand called Gradual, also on Amazon. It's like just a loose tank top, like an athletic tank top, kind of with the racer back style on the back, and I thought this was cute, really flowy, so I thought that kind of played nicely into the same style as the pink jacket that she's wrapped in. A few details on this, a couple that I thought were very clever, is if you look at the bottom of her skirt, her skirt ends quite a few inches above her ankles, and then there's like a white underskirt. So I'm wearing white socks. These are Bombas, 10 out of 10. Recommend Bombas. I have a ton of these. Always love wearing these, especially on race days where your feet get swollen. This has a lot of support and cushion. I wore a compression version of these last year when I was that last year? Yeah, last year when I was Rapunzel for the Disney Princess 5K. Here. Last couple of items. I thought about how I was going to carry all my stuff, and I typically wear like a runner's belt when I do these races. This is like the famous Lululemon trendy waist belt that people wear. This is not a Lululemon. It is a knockoff for like $10, also on Amazon. It's called Pander Sports is the brand, but if you look up like waist belt or anything like that, you're gonna find like 9 million versions of these in like 50 different colors. So I wanted to find one that tied into Mulan's outfit, and she has some like sashes on her waist that are light blue, so thought this was like the perfect color. And I also think this will be great to wear with Abu's outfit because he does have red and blue clothes or vest and hat on, so thought this would be fine to wear with Abu's outfit without it being like too much of a sore thumb. So this will be my runner's belt while we do both races. And then last but not least, I have the best thing ever. I have tiny cricket cage. Oh, my husband printed this super cute cricket cage from Thingiverse. He 3D printed this and gave it to me, and now I have to paint it. So I have the top here, and it's got like a little ring that I'm going to melt all the way through. It has it on both sides, but it's not melted all the way through. So I'm gonna melt that all the way through with a tool. And then the cage itself actually has a door, just like in the movie. So I need to paint this, glue the roof, and then I have we're gonna call it a cursed cricket for now. But here is Cricky without legs and antenna. So when you print this on Thingiverse, it does not print the legs and antenna because that would literally break immediately. But I have a thick gauge wire that I'm going to twist to make Cricky's legs and antenna, hoping to find a magnet to magnetize him into this little cage so it's not glued forever, but I might just glue him down with hot glue. And you got Cricky. You got Cricky in the cage. The last thing that I don't have, and I don't know if I'm gonna find it, is a Mushu. I had originally thought about going as Mushu for this, but I don't wear bright red, and it was really hard to source like red and gold things for that. I did do some research on this before I made these decisions, so don't know if Mushu's technically present at that, so, debatable. Do I need a Mushu? No. Do I want a Mushu? maybe. Next steps for this project. The run is 2 weeks away, so I don't have much time. It's hard for me to squeeze in crafting time during the week because of my job and my schedule. So I'm hoping that this weekend and next weekend I have a little bit of time to, well, I have to have time to work on this stuff. So things I want to get done in this weekend and next are stitch the trim onto a booze vest that I'm wearing. I need to make a fez, obviously, and figure out how to clip it to the hair clip and put it in my hair. I have to paint Cricky and Cricky's cage and get that finished and set up. I need to make sure I have everything to bring with me so I don't forget. It's gonna be fun. I'm glad I don't have a lot to do. The last run I went on I made Kevin's feathers and that took forever, and Kevin's hat also took forever. So this year I wanted to keep it simple and, like I said, keep an outfit that I knew I could run in cold weather or warm weather. So let's get crafting. It is the weekend before the runs. I did not have time to work on these at any point before, but we're here and we're gonna get started on these. So today I want to work on a booze vest instead of actually wearing a vest because I don't want to run in one. I mentioned this before, is that I found this like super cute long armhole tank top situation that I really liked. I'm going to take this and I'm going to take these, which are 2 different ribbons that I found at Joann's, and I'm going to sew them along the armholes. I also hope I have enough to use for at least one of them for the fez, because I will be making a fez either later today or tomorrow. That is my first goal today. The task that I want to complete this weekend before I ship off on Thursday for Disney is the vest, the fezzes, because I'm making 2, the cricket cage, and I think that's it. I'm gonna go in order from maybe easiest to more difficult, just because if I can start something that I know that I can do, I'll feel a lot better about doing the rest of them. So I'm going to start with the vest. Okay, so what I've done is I've pinned the ribbon to the sleeve from top to bottom, so it's gonna look like this. And I think what I'm gonna do is I have some red thread. I'm just going to do a very simple, I think it's called like a placing stitch or stay stitch. I bet that's what it is. I'm gonna just stay stitch the edges of the ribbon, probably on both sides, with a very loose stitch. So whenever this race is over, I can cut this ribbon off and reuse both items without like never being able to wear this tank top again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to attach the gold one as well. And then I will show you what one of the sleeves looks like. It's been a minute. It's probably been a couple of hours since I filmed the last clip, but my vest is done. So I've got the armholes stitched on. I think it looks really great and looks like more like a vest. So I'm super excited about this. I have maybe 2 feet of each trim left, so I'm gonna be using that for the fezzes that I'm making tomorrow. I think I'm gonna pause here for the day for crafting because it's getting late and I have to cook dinner. I don't want to get hyper focused into another task because the other 2 things I need to make are also time consuming, 4 hours each, I'm assuming. Hopefully not more than that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause there for the day and go cook dinner, but I'm super happy with how this turned out. Catch you in the next clip. Good morning. It's the next day, and we're going to be working on the second item from my list of to-dos, which would be Cricky's cage. I have Cricky's cage. This is 3D printed. We have a 3D printer. I do not know how to use it, so Taylor printed these for me, which is actually like pretty to scale, I would think, along with a very cursed tiny Cricky without any legs or antenna. You print it without the legs and antenna, so I'll be adding them with wire. And then I also have this little key ring that I'm going to be using to attach Cricky's cage to my fanny pack. So as we run, where I might be holding this, depending on how fragile it is. I looked up some reference photos, which I will place here or here. So Cricky's cage is wooden, like brown wood colored with a red roof. So I'm going to use acrylic to paint this print. I have some nice brown colors and we have bagillion acrylics. So I'm gonna be using a couple of them. I'm gonna kind of mix them together and make the wood color. And then for the roof, it's like a dark red. So I will be using one of these, maybe this brighter one, or mixing them. I think it might actually be a good combo. And then Cricky themselves are like 3 colors. I believe the head is purple, the body is like a periwinkle blue, and then Cricky's legs are navy. So I have all of these colors here, which I think are perfect. The 2 purples I might mix together. I think it's just a tad darker than this one, but this is like a little too violet, so I might mix these to make Cricky's head. And then I actually think this is the perfect body color, and that's the perfect leg color. So Cricky's legs though are my plan. So the wire is this thick 16 gauge jewelry wire that I found at the craft store. You typically like don't paint wire and expect it to stay, so Cricky's legs and antenna might be silver, or what I can try to do is paint this and then seal it with something. We've got tons of like sealant type things in our supply closet. I might do that, but for now I'm gonna keep it raw metal while I paint the rest of it, and then we'll go from there. And as always with all craft projects, I go in this with an idea of what I think it should look like, and then we pivot as we go. Pivot! I am confident mostly that this is gonna work out okay, but knowing that I might have to, like, I don't know, pivot, as Ross would say, into another plan. And then the other thing that I'm being mindful of is that Cricky is separate from the cage. I was going to look for magnets that you could embed into, like drill out and embed, so I can like magnet Cricky in and out. But what I think I might do just for the sake of this run is hot glue Cricky. That won't ruin anything, and then I can pop them off and might in the future magnetize Cricky so I can pop in and out without any issue. But for now, I'm just gonna probably hot glue, and I'm gonna go see what my dog's eating. A pretty good point in the cricket cage. I have gotten 4 coats of brown paint on this, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Same for the door, which I took off to paint. The roof, I have the top one. I'm pretty happy with this. I might do one more coat, and I also need to do this, which I will probably paint the same color. And then Cricky is done. So you can Cricky, you got full Cricky. Can you see this? Can you see that? Yeah, so it's okay. So you got Cricky and all its colors, their colors. Pretty happy with that. Now what I'm working on now is the legs for Cricky. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using wire. So I've gotten the 16 gauge wire that I went ahead and started bending. So I've got Cricky's legs, which I really need to like kind of clean up or bend just properly, but you can see here, ooh, they're not glued in yet, but I'm really happy with how these look. Cricky's legs. Now the front legs, like Cricket's front legs are just straight. So I think I'm gonna do a similar thing to this, where I bend a foot so it can sit flat, and then just like a straight piece of wire that embeds itself in the hole. So here's the leg, the back leg goes in this hole, and then you can see that second hole. So I'm just gonna make a wire that goes straight down and a little curved foot. Now for the antenna, I'm just now looking at this. I'm not sure. I guess I can stick the wire in here. Cricky's antennas are straight up, just like whink, like a little eyelash. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I mean, this is fine, I guess. It's just really thick, and then I need to figure out how to dull the edge, the end, because it's very sharp. But I guess that will work for antenna, and at least you could see it. Maybe I'll cut these real quick, and then I also need to make sure it fits in the cage. So do a little bit shorter. I have jewelry wire tools. I don't know what they're called. I've had these since probably no joke, the 5th grade. That's not an exaggeration. So what I might have to do is find, I believe I have a metal file that I could probably sand down the edges so it's not as sharp. I mean, it's gonna be sharp no matter what. That doesn't work. I could do like a dab of hot glue on the end. I don't know if I can do anything else. So antenna are cut now, and then I'm gonna cut Cricky's front legs. And then I'm gonna let all this, maybe do one more coat on the roof, like I said, and then let all this completely dry before I assemble everything. It's not that late in the day, but I still have life that I need to do. So I think I'm gonna let this dry, come back and finish everything up in a little bit, and then I will do the fez tomorrow, which is my last task on the crafting list before I kind of put everything together to see how it all looks and make any minor adjustments. It is Sunday and I leave Thursday at the butt crack of dawn to get to Orlando because I'm driving. I do need to get this stuff done, but I also try not to burn myself out creatively just because it's not, who wants to do that? So, oh, and then I also need to drill a hole in this roof. I'll check back in a little bit. I never showed the final Cricky cage that I ended up making. So here's Cricky in his cage. So this ended up like working out really well. Everything's glued in. Cricky is hot glued in. The roof is glued on, so it ain't going anywhere. And then I ended up getting a hole so I could put this little keychain in, and I clasped it to my fanny pack, and I also like ran with it in my hand most of the time to be like, it's my Cricket. But let me show you. I'm gonna show you a little bit closer with a better focus. Okay, so here is the final result. It is sealed with some kind of sealant. I don't even know. You can see here, like up here and down here, that there are some wires. I was a little worried that the glue would not stick to the roof and the cage, so I ended up wiring part of it just in case it fell off during the run, because, you know, there's a lot of running, impacting going on. And then you can see Cricky in here. I did end up painting Cricky's legs and antenna to the dark blue that we had discussed in previous clips. He looks pretty great. And then I did a little bit of detail with Sharpie pen on his face and eyes. But he's pretty dang cute. And his little feetsies are just hot glued into the bottom. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it's really cute. The door does open, but it also will take some of the paint off, so we're not going to do that. Anyway, there you go. Say bye, Cricky. It is the next day. It is Monday. T-minus 4 days until I leave for Disney. So the last step of my project is to make the fez for me and my mother, except I already did it. So I just got nervous trying to figure out how to problem solve and troubleshoot making fez for the first time. So I already actually did this off camera, but I will share what I did. So I got some cardstock and cut out a slightly curved shape. I don't really know how to explain it. Kind of a rainbow, kind of not. It wasn't that curved. It was like very like flat curve. I would show you, except I used them as the inserts to the fez. So once I did that, I tried it on the top of my head to see if I like the shape, and I did. I took felt that I got from Michaels, and this is like the perfect color, and I cut that out using fabric scissors and stitched along the side. After I did that, I took a spool of ribbon. It's the perfect shape for the top of the fez. I traced that out onto this, cut it out, and hand sewed it using red thread and a needle. So I've already done all that, no regrets. It took a little bit longer to do that than I'm explaining, but essentially I came up with this. So it is a fez. This one's a little crooked. This was my first attempt, and it's hot glued, and you can see the blue template on the inside. This is my second fez. Much better, as you can see. And what I did to make this a little bit more smooth as I hot glued, this is another template, is that I took the template, I just placed it inside, and then I cut pieces of, you can kind of see here, cut pieces of the felt. So as I glued and folded over, it was just like one piece at a time instead of the entire ring, and that allowed it to glue smoother. So this is a fez. Boop. So goofy. So my next step with this is to glue some ribbon. I am just going to use a hot glue gun and hope for the best. I'm gonna do this one. In order to get ribbon to not fray, and this is trim, so it's a little bit trickier, is you just take a lighter and you very lightly melt the edge of the ribbon. Most ribbon is like probably plastic. When you light it, it melts and kind of creates a stopper from the rest of the ribbon fraying. This backside is real wonky, so what is great is that we have ribbon to cover this up. So I'm gonna just take my hot glue gun and apply just a little bit along the edge vertically, because I'm gonna glue the ribbon edge down first, and then I will continue. Hot glue is for snickety, and it will probably seep through most ribbon from my experience in the past. So I'm just going to lightly tap tap so it doesn't burn my fingies. I've got a nice foundation to start gluing. I'm also gonna have a lot of string. Hold this down, flip this over, and since this ribbon is about an inch wide, or maybe 3/4, I'm gonna do like a zigzag hot glue to make sure that all of the ribbon glues down and not just some of it. You don't want to do too much at a time because hot glue dries fast, especially when it's cold outside. Again. And I'm gonna keep on keeping on. I'm at the end. Ow. Oh God. So I'm gonna just light this and melt the other end of the ribbon. I thought I had the right amount, but I did a little bit more. It's always better to have too much. Oh, that is on fire. Oh God. Just make sure that this is melted. Oh. And I'm gonna glue the tab, and I have a little bit of overlap just so it doesn't look like garbage. Perfect. Yeah, I just have to do the gold on this one, and then I'm gonna do the second one, and then I will show you what they look like when I'm done. We have two fizz. Boink. Monkey. These, I'm very happy with how these turned out. I think the hot glue is gonna hold up pretty well. I'm going to test my hair. So I don't know exactly how I'm gonna pin this in. My one thought is I have these hair combs that I bought that I could potentially sew by gluing something in here and then clipping this in, or I could use some hair clips. So I'm gonna test out a couple of hairstyles and some extra hair clips that I have and see what works best. For now, I'm really happy with this, and it's cute. Last thing to do, figure out how to get this in my hair, but we'll get it figured out before we go on Thursday. Hi, it's been a minute. It is currently the end of May, and a lot has happened between the last clip and this one. Where we left off, I had shown you the fez and that I had finished them, and that I would tell you how I got them to attach to my hair and all of the above. I was meant to do like outfit reveals and all of this stuff. None of that happened. Tuesday night, right after work, we get a snow advisory in North Carolina. And I was like, oh no, snow and the South do not mix. They don't mix well. I thought I was gonna get stuck here and not be able to make it to Florida for the Princess Marathon weekend. It was a bit chaotic. So Tuesday night comes around, see the snow advisory. I have to figure out what to do. I go ahead and I booked the hotel in Savannah, Georgia, which is about halfway between where I live and Orlando. I pack everything Tuesday night because I have to leave in 12 hours, maybe even less than that. Get all my stuff figured out, grab all my things, toss them in the car, sleep for a very few hours because who sleeps when they're stressed? Not me. Got up really early Wednesday morning, drove to Savannah. I was able to get there without any snow, but it was so cold on the way down. Thursday morning, I got up early and I headed to Orlando from Savannah and made it in about
or 5 hours, probably 5.5. I don't know. It's like 4 to 6 hours, somewhere around there, depending on traffic. It all worked out, but there was no time to plan more videos or content in between like the Fez and the actual race day. Felt the need to get on here and explain what happened because there was like I don't have any more footage except for the actual races. The 5K ended up being super fun. That was the Mulan themed one. I dressed in my outfit that I had shared at the beginning of this video. However, I did find a few extra accessories that I added, which were some sashes to my middle to kind of imitate the sashes that Mulan had around her waist in the matchmaker outfit. The one thing that we were not prepared for is that it was cold in Orlando. I've had very mixed experiences with the seasons in Orlando in February. So in February of 2023, my mom and I ran as Vanellope Von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph. So we had on leggings, skirts, and hoodies, thinking, oh, it's February, it'll be cooler. That did not happen. It was so hot. So then last year in 2024, we're like, all right, we're gonna wear shorts and t-shirt, and it was so cold. So this year we were like, okay, let's prepare. And I decided that I was gonna wear pants and a tank top, and that would be a good balance. And if I needed to, I had a jacket. 5K was pretty chilly, but it ended up being really fun. I only wore the jacket for a little bit when I felt like I could not regulate my body heat, so I had it on at the beginning. And then the 10K was freezing. It was so cold. I think it was low 40s, so not literally freezing, but when you get used to being in the South, that is very chilly, especially at 4 a.m. And the wind was pretty windy. The wind be winding. And I originally decided I had the Abu outfit with the brown pants, brown sports bra, and then the red crop. Nope. I didn't even wear the outfit. I ended up wearing my 10K running shirt, like the shirt that they give you, a different pair of pants that I'd brought with me, thank goodness, and then some tall socks and a jacket. I was still quite cold, but I decided that it's just not worth sacrificing like how I feel for an outfit. So I ended up not wearing the Abu outfit at all. Kind of sad, but it is what it is. And I've learned my lesson that I'm going to come prepared next year. That was my 4th Run Disney event, and I feel like I learned something every time. So next year I'll be bringing base layers no matter what, and I will be prepared for frigid weather or hot weather. I don't know what that's gonna look like. It just might mean a bigger suitcase. Hopefully throughout this explanation, I've thrown up some photos of what my outfits look like, both for the 5K and the 10K. Again, they were really fun. I still had a really good time despite the weather. I'm glad it didn't rain. I just wanted to pop on here and explain, like, where did this, like, awkward, no content between the Fez and here. So I had a great weekend, and I can't wait to do it again, and we'll see what's in store for next time. I already have some ideas brewing, but you really don't know until you know what characters are part of the 5K if you want to match the theme. So just excited to see what comes next, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. There's a lot of like cool things you learn about Run Disney and the experience and stuff, so I'm more than happy to answer them. I will catch you in the next video. Bye!